You are requested to please take your seats. We'll be starting the program very soon. Thank you. Of the inaugural session to please come to the dais. Mr. P. Roy, Director General of the Bengal Chamber. Mr. Partho S. Bhattacharya, former Chairman Coal India Limited and currently Executive Director Deepak Fertilizers and Petrochemicals Corporation Limited. Mr. Scott Ferson Node, British Deputy High Commissioner in Eastern Region. Dr. Pradipta Ghosh, Distinguished Fellow, Arts, Science and Climate Change Division and Director, TERI. Mr. Richard Rekhi, CEO, KPMG India. Mr. A. Krishna Kumar, Vice Chairman and Managing Director, Philips India Limited. Mr. Alok Mukherjee, Chairman, Sullivan Flact India Private Limited and past President of the Bengal Chamber. Mr. Arun Kumar Mukherjee, Chairperson of Energy and Environment Committee. Mr. Shutanu Ghosh, Co-Chairperson of Energy and Environment Committee. I'll request Mr. Shutanu Ghosh, Co-Chairperson of Energy and Environment Committee, to take the session forward. Mr. Ghosh, please.
Thank you very much. Dignitaries on the dais by my side, dignitaries off the dais in my front, a very good morning and a very warm welcome to each and every one of you. Yes, the moment has come for the commencement of the seventh continual annual edition, slated for every last Friday and Saturday of the month of August in this venue, to take off. This has truly become a lead advisory advocacy policy. The recommendations of this particular event, the proceedings, would be sent to the Government of India after its conclusion. Without much ado, we begin the program, and I would request our Director General of the Bengal Chamber, Mr. P. Roy, to please come up and deliver his welcome address. Mr. Roy, please.
Thank you, Mr. Ghosh. Ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, members of the media, a very warm welcome to all of you to the 7th edition of one of India's largest forums on sustainability, the Bengal Chamber's signature Energy and Environment and Energy Conclave. The conclave has grown from strength to strength, and today it is reckoned as one of those forums where the eminent and the masters of the craft from varied domains in the sustainability realm meet to strategize the pressing need for sustainable development and the necessity to balance industrial growth and ecological stability. As the Chairman IPCC had commented, there is no part of the world which would remain untouched by the effects of climate change. The problem of climate change started with the onset of industrialization and has continued to grow ever since. Climate change is undoubtedly one of the greatest environmental, social and economic threats our planet faces today. It is actually beyond a threat. it is a real and clear and present danger. It impacts all countries, but is particularly severe for developing countries like India, given their vulnerabilities, inadequacies, and limited capacities to adapt to its effects. Limiting the effects of climate change is necessary to achieve sustainable development, equity, and poverty reduction. India is still a resource-rich nation, but with not enough for the foreseeable future. To compound problems, there has always been a constant and prevailing dichotomy between economic compulsions and economic exploitation of resources. Energy has to be accessible, available, and affordable. The compulsions that we are confronted with are climatic changes and the overwhelming need for cheap and alternative energy resources. India's power blackout in 2012 poignantly shows the country's need to move forward towards more reliable and sustainable power resources. I opened the newspapers this morning, and on this very subject, Financial Express says, July 2012 forgotten as a gridlock looms ahead. You know, states overdrawing, coal shortage leads to crisis situation. And this is going to grow given the recent decisions affecting the coal sector. So we can see that the problem is indeed a very pressing one. And the very impediment has now paved the way to opportunity for sustainable energy. It was a call to adapt for new energy regime in India. It is a call, in fact. The government itself has been taking measures towards an energy revolution to harness the country's coal, gas, hydro, nuclear, and wind resources to promote energy security and economic development in a sustainable manner. India is heavily dependent on coal, which is what this article shows, and which we all know. It is also the main source of greenhouse gases resulting in global warming. The cost of solar is rapidly decreasing on the other hand. Yet coal remains a tried and tested resource of which we have huge reserves. On the other hand, it is engulfed in controversy now, currently. We are staring into an uncertain future, and immediately so. To shift to a low carbon path requires more efficient uses of coal, use of natural gas as a bridge fuel, ramping up of renewable energy resources such as wind, solar and hydropower. The lead motives for the conclave are sustainable resource and sustainable power. The inaugural session will present the conclave theme, which will set the stage for the dialogue for the next 2 days. It will be a melting pot of thoughts, ideas and experiences, a platform to bring everyone on the same page on resource tenability and on how to improve upon existing policies while developing the new ones, so the environment does not hinder industrial growth and vice versa. However, we will appreciate that such an intangible and vast topic as resource sustainability cannot be confined within 2 days of deliberation. We have a galaxy of eminent personalities with us as speakers who are giants in their own field, and I'm sure that these 2 days, though heavy, would be captivating as we leave enriched from the interaction. Thank you. Please enjoy the conclave and benefit from it. Thank you all very much. Once again, a warm welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roy. I may just supplement that the conclave theme paper, Sustainable Power, Unpacking the Buzzword, prepared by ERM India, our knowledge partner for this particular program, has already been distributed to you through pen drives, and it's also available on the Chamber website. It's a very inclusive document, and you may truly want to go through it when you have the time. To make our first intervention this morning, we have none other than a very, very close friend and ally of ours over the last, all the 7 years that we've been doing the chamber, Mr. Partho Bhattacharya. You see his profile up there. I'm not going to read the whole thing and bite into his time. He's the person who turned Coal India into the Maha Navaratna company. He was, by Forbes magazine, he was recognized as a very high achiever in the year 2010. He was awarded the Scope Special Award of the Year from the Honorable Prime Minister and various other awards, and he just told me that he hasn't actually thrown any one of them out of his house as yet. And most importantly, he is a member of the newly formed advisory group on coal, power and renewables, the Government of India, who are looking to chalk out the roadmap for power supply 24/7 by designated time period. Mr. Bhattacharya.
Dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, the speakers in various sessions, the delegates, members of the print and electronic media, ladies and gentlemen. I must thank BCC and I. We are used to referring to this as Bengal Chamber, but it's no longer Bengal Chamber, it is BCC and I, for inviting me to this program and allowing me to give the theme address for this two-day session. I must congratulate BCCI for holding this annual kind of a flagship event for 7 years in a row and bringing together thought leaders both in energy and environment fields. This is what makes the event somewhat unique because it brings together professionals from very divergent fields and tries to create some sort of a convergence of thoughts. Very typically, a conference on energy today would definitely try and address the huge gap that exists between demand and supply of energy. India is an emerging, growing economy. The energy needs are huge. There is a clear gap, and means and ways to fill the gap, or rather to close the gap, would drive the proceedings of such a conference. That is for sure. Be it increasing or making it faster, the growth in production of fossil fuels, or it could be accelerating the addition to power generation capacity in all forms. This would be the typical agenda for a conference on energy. If it wants to increase its scope, it could include something like addressing the T&D losses, or a little more focus on renewable energy, the new paradigms that are coming up, the wind energy, the solar energy and things like that. But it will be all energy. When it comes to a conference on environment, basically the focus would be to look at propagating or identifying measures, whether administrative, legislative or whatever, that can protect the environment from, if I may use, in the absence of a better word, onslaught of these development activities, including the production of energy. Now, to get these two conferences or the thoughts or themes of these two conferences together is a mighty challenge. But BCC and I has been achieving this for quite some time. Last year we had a very prominent environmentalist, Sunita Ranayan, if I remember correctly. This year we are supposed to have Ms. Medha Patkar to talk to us. So it brings about very divergent kind of views and tries to achieve some sort of a congruence. So this is the uniqueness of it. And I think this kind of a holistic debate is very important. Now let us look at it a little more holistically. Added to these two divergent dimensions, energy and environment, you have another major issue in the Indian system, which is social inclusion or economic inclusion, financial inclusion. We have a situation where 400 million people don't have access to electricity. We have a situation where the per capita consumption of electricity in the country, with all efforts of everyone together, could improve from somewhere around 750 units per person per year to around 930 units today over the last 7 to 8 years. And that is 1/3 of that of China. It is a minuscule part of the world average. So a lot more has to be done. When the advisory group, which has been recently appointed by the government, started talking about 24/7 electricity for all by the year 2020, the first major challenge was to identify what does 24/7 mean. Various definitions are floating around, and what is seen is, if the 40% of the population which is doesn't have access to electricity is provided access, and a minimum threshold of something like 3 units per day for rural households and 8 units per day for urban households is prescribed, India will have to quickly double up its total energy generation, transmission and distribution systems. There are huge challenges in trying to provide power to off-grid areas, where renewables could play a very major role. Taking all these things together, it is indeed a major challenge. And every step that we take to enhance fossil fuels, dependence on fossil fuels, a thermal generation of energy, it has a corresponding consequence on the environmental side which needs to be mitigated. So the challenges are surely for everyone to address. Anyway, I'm hopeful that through this 2-day conference and various technical sessions, a couple of speakers in the inaugural session as well, we'll see a lot of experience sharing. There are panel discussions. Through all of this, the speakers will definitely project what all is being done and what all is being planned to be done in order to address the conflicting imperatives of development and sustainability of the environment. The collective wisdom shared would certainly help creating a roadmap of sustainable development for future. This outcome, if realized, will make everyone here proud and make the conclave a runaway success. All the best for the 2 days to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bhattacharya. You've already thrown to us some staggering statistics that 400 million people in our country is still devoid of electricity, and that in order to reach 3 units and 8 units in rural and urban India today, we need to double our generation and transmission systems very quickly. Very, very tall order. Our next speaker this morning is Mr. Scott Ferguson Wood, the British Deputy High Commissioner in Eastern India in Kolkata. Mr. Wood is an MA Honours in Philosophy, Politics and Economics from Merton College, Oxford University, and has an MBA from Open University. He has held various positions across the globe. He was first based in the US. 2008-2013 he served the British Embassy in Washington DC, and then moved on to various other cities across the world before coming to Kolkata. Mr. Wood.
Well, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm delighted to be here today with you all and to share a platform with so many senior decision makers from government, business leaders, whose presence here, I think, demonstrates the importance that India and states like West Bengal attach to sustainable development issues. And it's great to see such an important gathering taking place here in Kolkata, because in many ways Kolkata is the right place to be having this conversation. As I'm sure many of you will agree, Kolkata is a fascinating, vibrant, culturally rich city, a city whose history continues to define its character even as it rushes rapidly towards its future. But that future is in many ways an uncertain one, in part because of the rapid expansion that lies ahead, in part because of Kolkata's vulnerability to the effects of climate change. And it's this vulnerability, coupled with the rapid urbanization that Kolkata will experience in the years to come, which makes sustainable resource management for the growth of this city so vitally important. Around the world, resource efficiency in every form is becoming essential as urban development grows at a rate never experienced before. The biggest driver of this growth is the growth of the middle-class population, widely but somewhat roughly defined as those who spend between $10 and $100 per day. And globally, this demographic has doubled from 1 billion people in 2000 to 2 billion in 2013, and is projected to further increase to 5 billion by the year 2030. And most of these people will be living in cities. Now, in many ways, this represents a wonderful opportunity for increased prosperity. It means that more and more people in the developing world are coming out of poverty. It means realization of dreams and aspirations. But preparing for this expansion in such a short space of time is a challenge the likes of which the world has never faced before. It has enormous implications for urban economics and for resource management in particular. And we need to wake up to this challenge. The choices that we make today on building design, waste management, water, energy and food systems, on the management of our urban ecosystems, on transportation, on the development of infrastructure, all of these things will have critical implications for our urban habitats in the years to come. It's therefore vital that we have an integrated and innovative approach as we try to future-proof our cities in the light of climate change, rising energy prices, increasing demand for water and for space. And in a small way, this is what we in the United Kingdom government are trying to help with here in Kolkata. When my Prime Minister, David Cameron, visited Kolkata in November last year, we signed a memorandum of understanding with the Kolkata Municipal Corporation to work together towards a low-carbon and climate-resilient Kolkata. Now, this is a first-of-its-kind initiative in India, and through it, the municipal corporation here in the city has taken a really important step to work with various stakeholders and with consultants from the UK and other countries to mainstream climate change and sustainable resource management within its planning. Now, this will help the KMC reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the city. It will help them respond to the impacts of climate change. And it will also help create new green jobs and generate new economic opportunities. There are three main components of this collaboration. Firstly, we're preparing a roadmap for the green growth of the city. And this roadmap, once it's developed, will serve as a blueprint that the Kolkata Municipal Corporation will use to initiate action on large-scale adoption of grid-connected rooftop solar across the city, sustainable water resource management and wastewater treatment, low-carbon and climate-resilient infrastructure development, climate-smart municipal solid waste management, low-carbon city mobility strategies, energy-efficient action plans, and climate-induced disaster management plans, among many other things. Now, the second element of our work with the city is the development of strategies to strengthen the institutional capacity of the Kolkata Municipal Corporation to implement this roadmap and to improve overall governance. Now, this will involve developing low-carbon procurement guidelines for the KMC and building the capabilities of the municipal corporation so that Kolkata is better equipped to respond to the challenges of climate change and to take advantages of the opportunities that climate change can present. Now, the third aspect, which is fundamental to the success of the initiative, is a program to sensitize key stakeholders within the city on to the issues around green growth. And this is going to involve councillors, members of the Mayor and Council, and the wider community to help them understand what green growth for Kolkata really means. And today I'd like to take the opportunity to announce that we'll be working with the BCCI and other experts to sensitize councillors on climate change and sustainable resource management so that they feel personally empowered to take constructive action towards making their city cleaner, greener, and more climate friendly. We believe that this collaboration that the United Kingdom has with the Kolkata Municipal Corporation will encourage behavioural changes. We believe it will help ensure bottom-up participatory governance.